at the Disney Movies with the Hearts.
I'm Kelly.
I'm David.
And this week, it's the world's most powerful fortune cookie. I bet they got a 1-star review on Yelp that day.
Freaky Friday from 2003, far before Yelp.
Hi, honey. Make good choices.
Mondays are manic.
I can't believe it. It's Jake. He's not looking. He's totally looking.
Wednesdays are wild.
Yeah! Get out of my room!
And for Anna and Tess, there's never enough time to really understand each other.
What? Time's up. It's after 6. You're ruining my life.
But on Friday,
You think my life is perfect?
You couldn't last one day in my high school.
Cookie.
that's all about to change.
Was it before Yelp? When was Yelp a thing?
I'm going to say 2009-ish.
Oh, well, it got a
1-star Yahoo review. There was a thing on Yahoo Answers if this had happened to anybody else.
It was an Ask Jeeves. Jeeves, where should I go to dinner tonight? Don't go to that Chinese restaurant or you'll end up in your mom's body.
Even though they know the lady, Pei.
Oh, yeah.
They were on a first-name basis with her.
Yeah, but then
And she
she's
was on
like...
a first-name basis.
You had not seen this before, right?
No, definitely not.
So what was your initial vibe?
It was shockingly good. It was funny.
It was fun. I'll second that I had seen this before, but I really didn't remember it. I didn't remember probably 90% of this movie. I just remembered a few bits and pieces, but it was actually better than I remembered it being.
Yeah, it was. I was entertained throughout. I thought both Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan were pretty great.
Yeah. No, they're both really awesome, and it just is really sad.
What's sad?
That Lindsay Lohan just completely...
Her talent evaporated?
She just made some really poor life choices and went completely off the deep end.
Yeah, but don't you think that if she still had some talent, she'd still be acting? Like, don't you think that her talent just left her body?
No, I think that because
like Freaky Friday style?
They actually switched places because this was like a rebirth of Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
But no, really, like she started being in more stuff, I think, after this.
No, Jamie Lee Curtis has always been
she's
good.
always been in stuff, but I'm saying that her career kind of took a little bit of an upswing after this.
Maybe.
No, I think that she just had such a horrible reputation that nobody wanted to work with her.
Yeah, that might be true, too.
Because she was like, oh, I don't want to work with that coke lady. That was the whole thing, is she got caught doing tons of cocaine. And people...
is that really the whole thing, or is it because she's just kind of a...
I don't know. I think that the drug thing was a big deal.
No, I think it's because she's difficult to work with.
Well, maybe that...
Because everybody else is doing drugs, too. That's not a thing.
Everybody's doing drugs.
All those Hollywood cokers out there.
Is that still a thing, you think?
Oh, totally. It has to be.
Coke is still the celebrity drug? You don't think it's something else now? You don't think it's like a pill of some kind?
Nah. It's always the rich person thing.
Correct, sir.
Oh my god. Let me read the synopsis really quick. Freaky Friday from 2003. Family, comedy, fantasy. Dr. Tess Coleman and her teenage daughter Anna have one thing in common. They don't relate to each other on anything. Not clothes, or men, or Anna's passion to be in a rock band. Nothing. Then one Friday night, a little mystic mayhem changes their lives and they wake up to their biggest freak out ever. Tess and Anna are trapped inside each other's body. With Tess's wedding on Saturday, the two must find a way to switch back. And fast. Literally forced to walk in each other's shoes, will they gain respect or understanding for the other's point of view?
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. And I didn't realize that... So the director, Mark Waters, he also directed Mean Girls, which is also a movie I enjoy, and highly enjoy.
Yeah, it's a very good movie from what I remember.
Yeah. I mean, he directed more stuff than that, but that's
I mean, like Bad Santa 2 and... something called Spiderwebs. I don't know.
It's the Spiderwick Chronicles. It's a children's fantasy series. He's directed a few things. I mean, he's not, but he hasn't really done much.
This was his first real movie, though.
Yeah, this was definitely his first real movie.
Yeah. Which is surprising.
Yeah, because it was a pretty... I remember the trailers being on TV. Like, it was a pretty high-profile movie.
No, for sure. Because it had Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan. I mean...
Yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis is a big star.
Yeah. I mean, she is the star of this movie. Like, she's amazing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But he's having a little problem applying himself, particularly in math.
So hold him back. I mean, he's short. He'll fit in, you know what I mean?
I don't really know anybody who wouldn't know Jamie Lee Curtis. That would be kind of strange if
From,
you're
like, Halloween or My Girl or True Lies.
Yeah. No, I like, if you didn't know her, that would be strange.
Yeah,
she's
it
very
would.
famous. And
Yeah.
she's like a hot older lady.
Oh, she's hot all the way through her life.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. She's
Yeah.
like, and she clearly hasn't had any plastic surgery or anything. She's just like a naturally beautiful lady.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
But I think both of her parents were movie stars.
were they?
Like Tony Curtis and some other famous actress. Yeah, she's born from beautiful people.
Well, and she's a really good actress too.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
She's really good.
Don't get me wrong.
She does a lot of horror movies though. I think she likes doing horror.
That's how she got her start, was Halloween. That was her big break. But I would say her biggest role was True Lies, though.
Do you know I've actually never seen that?
Oh, that's insane. That's such a good movie.
I've literally never seen it.
Such a good movie.
Okay, well I haven't seen it, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I can't really say anything else.
Is that the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
Yeah, and Tom Arnold and her. Yeah, it's a good movie.
Haven't seen it.
A lot of fun. Good 90s flick.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's great.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so she's really good. And then Lindsay Lohan is kind of just Lindsay Lohan. Like,
she's kind of almost... She's good. Kind of also not...
I beg your pardon?
Neither here nor there in this movie.
well, I mean, she wasn't really in as many scenes as Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, her
like,
role is... It's strong in the beginning and it diminishes throughout the film.
Yeah, but she is a good actress.
Yeah,
like,
and she did just fine.
Because obviously, if you're a Disney person, you've seen Parent Trap. Pretty much everybody's seen Mean Girls. Everybody's seen all these little movies that she's been in.
What about Herbie Fully Loaded?
Okay, we have not seen Herbie Fully Loaded, but there was like a string of about 5 or 6 years where it was Lindsay Lohan everything. Every preteen movie was Lindsay Lohan, and then she got caught being naughty, and she was like...
Not just once, though. It was like 5 times.
No, it was really bad, and that's why I think she had a really bad reputation. And then she was still in the age where she was playing these like high school, young adult age, and people were like, "Oh, that's a bad role model." So I remember that being a thing, is that people were like, "I don't want her in this movie because she's a negative influence on young people." Which is just so stupid, but...
This was during the whole thing with Paris Hilton and Britney Spears.
Yeah, it was
it was the whole Wipeout era.
Peak Disney Channel stars just tanking.
Well, peak for back then. I mean, we've had more peaks and valleys. I mean,
Yeah,
we had
but...
that one movie where the lady became a porn star, for crying out loud.
Which lady?
The Bella Thorne lady.
Oh, well, yeah, but this was the highly publicized.
Well, sure, because Lindsay Lohan was on top of the world.
Yeah, it was.
We should have another Freaky Friday with her crashing down to the...
Oh my god.
And have like a lot of the record scratches.
Well, there was just a lot of... This was like the age of the crazy paparazzi. And like, oh my god, did you see that person's vagina? She wasn't wearing any underwear.
Yeah.
Like, it was a whole thing.
It was a whole thing. That's what I was getting at. And then we also had Mark Harmon, famous from NCIS.
Well, he's been in a lot of stuff. Like,
well, the one thing that stuck out to me that I saw was that he played Ted Bundy in a movie.
What?
And he looks creepily like Ted Bundy when he's young. Look it up. And you definitely have not watched NCIS because you listened to this, which means you're not 78 years old.
yeah, no, I definitely don't watch that. The Deliberate Stranger?
Yeah.
Is that...
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking...
Then look at the photos of the movie thing. Like the one of...
Oh,
him.
ew!
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Because he looks like such a nice older man, but back then, creep factor.
Yeah, that's...
No, not that one.
Yeah,
The one with him holding up the sign in Utah, like in jail.
No, I know,
Looking
but that...
right into his blue eyes just like Ted Bundy.
Stop, I don't like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
like that at all. That's
awesome.
That's unsettling. We'll have to put that on the Instagram when this episode airs.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really upsetting. actually like Zac Efron. Who? This guy is dead ringer for Ted Bundy.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
He's got those serial killer eyes.
So, and then the rest of the cast is kind of weird. Like the pretty boy guy, Chad Michael McMurray.
Oh God, he was the hot dude back when I was young.
So was he a like Tiger Beat guy? Okay, that makes sense.
He's like, he was in, all these, like, he was in another movie with Hilary Duff, kind of played the love interest popular guy. He was in freaking One Tree Hill, which was like a 90210 type show.
Okay.
He was in, he's been in a ton of these
Because he's a terrible actor.
No, he's not a very good actor, and frankly, he's not that cute. I'm sorry.
No, I get what the teenage girls like about that kind of guy, but...
What? That he's basic?
Yeah. No,
he's not special. He's not that cute. Like, I'm sorry. He literally, his face looks like a...
Butt.
No, not a butt. It looks like a piece of cardboard. It's just bland. He has no defined...
But that's the thing, you can put what you like on it.
No, he has really like almost gray colored eyes.
It's the perfect template to fit in what you want.
No, I don't like it. He has no defining features on him at all. Like, he's just a piece of cardboard. He's basic.
And my only other shouts to actors is Stephen Tobolowsky as Mr. Bates.
That guy literally has been everywhere.
Yeah, he's great.
But he plays the same guy. Like, he has one note.
Yeah, but he's good at his note. He sings a sharp note as a little thing in films.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna give one more shout out just because if you're a TV person. So the guy who plays the really annoying patient, Willie Garson, he's a very famous character on Sex and the City. He's Stanford Blatch. So if you watch Sex and the City, you're gonna see that guy. Oh, it's Stanford. He's like Carrie's gay best friend. Like that's his part on the show.
God.
But
so that was concurrent with this. That was like at the same time. Wow.
Yeah. So he's very, like, anybody that's a Sex and the City person, immediately you're gonna see that guy, and that's all you're gonna be thinking about.
Fair enough. So do you got any fun facts?
I had a couple of fun facts. I thought some of them were actually quite fun.
Yeah, there are a few nice fun facts about this. Go ahead and start.
So the first one I had was Jamie Lee Curtis had only 6 days to prepare for this part because Annette Bening dropped out at the last minute.
This movie would have been so bad with Annette Bening.
Well, she's just not as charming, and
that's what I mean. Like,
I don't think she could have pulled off that kind of youthful,
the
facial expressions and everything.
She could have pulled off the mom part,
yeah,
but she could not have pulled off the other part, and this movie would have been awful with Annette Bening.
But that's 6 days. That's pretty crazy. Like, and she did it so well.
Right.
I'm cold. Oh, I'm like the Crypt Keeper.
Okay, that's enough.
And my little fun fact is that Lindsay, the part of Anna was supposed to be a goth character, and Lindsay Lohan came in Abercrombie and Fitch and just totally blew up the movie and totally changed it because she did such a good job not having the character be goth.
I don't know if it would have been like, what are they trying to have, like a Christina Ricci play this part? Like I think it was better with her.
It probably was better, but had they pulled off this movie off with her being goth, this would have been the goth anthem movie of all time.
Well, I didn't write this down, but I mean, Kelly Osbourne was originally set to play this part, and she backed out.
No, you read that wrong.
Did I read it wrong?
Yeah, you didn't read the whole thing.
Oh.
She was supposed to be the lead singer of the band, and she backed out. She was supposed to be the character that the Hispanic young lady played.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. Are you kidding me?
I didn't write it down. I was like, that's a weird fact, and so I just didn't read it carefully enough. But
yeah. And was this at the time when the Osbournes was on TV?
I think so, yeah.
That was a pretty funny show.
Beep,
beep, beep, beep, beep, beep.
Insert clip here. Another fact I had was that Gwen Stefani was offered a role as a band member.
Ugh.
And she turned it down.
Thank God. Because at this point, Gwen Stefani was already like 48 years old.
Yeah, that would have been a really weird choice.
Yeah. They should have tried to get, what's her name, from Portlandia. They should have tried to get Carrie.
Oh.
From Slater-Kinney, because this was like right in the prime of her Slater-Kinney days. That would have been way better.
Yeah. Did you have any other fun facts?
No.
I had a couple of fun facts I had was that Gwen Stefani was offered a role as a band member. And she turned it down.
Thank God.
Yeah. Did you have any other fun facts?
No. Of course, this was a book by somebody named Mary Rogers.
Well, and it's a remake of a 70s Disney movie, which we have yet to watch.
But of course, it's a book.
Yeah, well,
Duh, it's a Disney movie that's live action. Of course it was a book. All right, so let's so this is going to be a weird walkthrough because as much as I liked it, not a lot happened in this movie. A 20-minute montage at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean,
and then kind of like a meat of the story, and then it was over. I mean, they didn't waste a lot of their time.
No, I mean, it's definitely...
And there was a lot of back and forth.
An effective use of time. Like, it's not a long movie. I mean, it's like an hour and 38 minutes.
No.
But yeah, not a lot happened. But I mean, it only takes place over the course of one day, so...
Well, think about like Alexander and the No Good, Horrible, Very Bad Day seemed like 8 times longer than...
Because it probably was 8 times longer.
Even though it was the same movie, essentially.
What? Was it?
Yeah, I think so. There was magic involved and everything was horrible, and then it ended up being great. I think it was essentially the same movie.
We open with a really terrible remake of
Imagine You and Me.
And then it goes in this...
Yeah, so then we get the punk pop version, which is very grating. Usually I'm into punk pop covers. This is like the worst case scenario.
Well, I mean, I will say pretty much all of the songs in this movie. That is my one big criticism of this movie.
All the pop punk songs.
The music was actually a kind of an important part of the movie, like the storyline with her being in a band. So like, have some better music. Like,
I feel like that entire part of the movie was the bad part.
Like, I don't know. I just think that they could have had a better soundtrack with.
I feel like they really cheaped out.
But you have the workaholic mom, and she's daughter.
And she's got the little harlot daughter.
Is she a harlot?
That's what she calls her.
Oh well, she calls her that because she wants to get a stud in her ear, and she's like, I can't have my maid of honor looking like a harlot.
In the upper part of her ear, which is like, who gives a?
I mean, and that was what they were trying to portray, was her mom was like a hard ass, but she kind of was, and
her mom was terrible and abusive.
There's a few things that happen that I'm like, really? And that, like, who does that?
So like all throughout, and this is what's weird to me is, I was never on the mom's side. She was just horrifying.
Yeah, and I mean that was kind of the point, is that
right, but the girl was supposed to be just as bad. But I never really felt like she was just as bad.
Yeah, I mean, the only time it was really, and maybe it's different for you, because maybe you kind of experienced it, but from an outside perspective, like when she was being a dick to the dude, like, that's not really cool.
That's kind of the way it goes. I mean, you need to expect that.
But I mean, it's the whole thing. She's got 6 cell phones and pagers, and she's all workaholic, and it establishes that she's a very well-accomplished therapist.
Yeah, she's written a book already. She's written another book. She's all crazy.
Yeah. So we get in that, you get the initial, like, oh, alternative teen. Oh, you're ruining my life, Mom. And, she's got a little brother that she's,
annoyed by.
Yeah, and he's typical little brother.
Little douche brother, just like everything.
Well, and yeah, because he's being a butt, and the mom's like, oh, just don't pick on him, blah, blah, blah. But, so there is the montage of school of all the terrible things that she's dealing with.
That's happening to her, and she keeps getting detention, what kind of detention happens during the school day? What the are they even talking about?
Yeah, that was a little weird. She kept, like, bribing the detention, like, observer with snacks.
Was she bribing her, or were they just trading snacks? It seemed like they were just trading.
I don't know. It was weird. But, like, one of the things that she gets detention for is the teacher that's, like, out to get her. She made some kind of comment, like, under her breath about him not having hair. I don't think you can send someone to detention for that.
Of course you can. You've never had horrible teachers that would just do bad things to you.
I don't even think we had detention in my high school, to be honest.
Well, you had a private school, so you didn't have just angry people who were
that doesn't seem
to
like
exact punishment on you for being alive.
That doesn't sound right. I don't think you should be able to do that.
Take a hike a couple blocks from over here and go find out what happens.
I know, but I was just like, what?
Especially the worse school you're in, the worse that's going to be.
Yeah. So then it's a montage of like her mom being a therapist, doing her thing. She's trying to simultaneously plan her wedding because she's marrying this guy, and it's not clear initially if their dad has died or if they're divorced.
At first I was like, oh, she's child of divorce little... Oh, wait, no.
No, her dad died, which is sad.
Of course, because it was a Disney movie. They can't get divorced.
Yeah.
No divorce allowed.
And, in school, then we have the hot guy, Jake, which is like the most typical, quote, hot guy name. What is it going to be, Jake or Alex? Like one or the other. Oh, it's the hot guy. Like,
Jake.
And he's got, the kind of like, sort of long, but greasy, like gross hair. Like, ugh, it's just...
Super high school hair. Come on, I had that hair in high school. Oh.
Yeah, we didn't meet in high school. Not with that hair. Gross.
Yeah.
And her hair is not exactly anything to write home about either.
Oh, with the stripper streaks and the
and it's just like
and the funky makeup that she has on.
Yeah, and then it's like matted, and I'm like, God, brush your hair. Like, what is wrong with you?
It's matted because they used to put a ton of hairspray in it to keep it exactly straight and stripper streaky and keep the stripper streaks in line and.
Ugh,
yeah, no good.
It's gross. Yeah, so they kind of have like a connection or whatever, and the teacher's talking to her, and this guy, like, his character is kind of a douche.
Oh, totally.
Like, he doesn't even, she's like, oh, hold on just a second, and he doesn't even wait for 2 seconds while she's talking to a teacher. What? Okay, cool. Like, he's just I don't get it.
Yeah.
And then, she goes home and she's all upset and she's in a band. Ooh, she's alternative and they're practicing in the garage.
And the band is called Pink Slip.
Isn't that isn't the pink slip what you got when you went to detention? They give you a pink slip?
No, it's when you get fired from a job.
Allegedly.
Oh,
okay.
Or laid off.
Or isn't it like when you're doing like a car race with somebody or something, or you're...
Yeah, it can be that too.
Isn't that a thing?
You trade pinks.
Yeah, and so this was one of the first things where I was like, really? They're, it's all crazy because the band is playing in the garage and like super loud or whatever, and then the mom just like shuts off the power.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, it's 6:00. It's time for the power to be shut off now.
Yeah, she shuts off the power, which is just super like just...
No, to me that actually rang really true of like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go down there and be like, okay, you have to stop now. It's time for you to stop. No. Just shut off the power. Your practice time is over. It's 6:00. It's time to move on with the day.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. She just was
I mean, think about how cool her mom has to be to let a band practice there in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. And I mean, that's part of why you were, supposed to be like thinking the daughter was bad because she's, oh, you're so terrible.
You're ruining my life.
Yeah, and she really... I don't know.
Mom!
Because she gets a call from the school that she was in detention, and so then her solution is to take the door off the hinges.
And then she got an F on English. It's like, yeah, that's where I wrote down that her mom is abusive. Like, you can't go take the door off of somebody's thing. And I feel like
that was a thing in several like shows and movies back in this kind of early 2000s.
Was it?
I've seen it before in other things.
To me, I've never seen it, but...
And who does that? Why would you want to take the door off your, 16-year-old daughter's bedroom?
Yeah. He just looks for ways to torture me. Like today, the one time Jake even spoke to me, he totally... Who's Jake? He's just nobody.
You say I'm not interested, Anna. I'm interested. Try me.
Okay, he's just this really amazing guy, Mom.
Where'd you meet him?
Detention, but...
That's promising.
See? Do you see? Why do I even bother telling you anything?
Okay, who's up for Chinese?
Ah! You're ruining my life!
And then you find out that she got like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you're like, no, you have to go to my rehearsal dinner.
Well, and it was like, it wouldn't even be the whole thing. It would just be for like a minute.
Yeah, like, oh, I got to bone out for a sec.
Yeah, and it's just, but so basically they go to the Chinese restaurant, and this is where, she's being an angsty teen, and she's like, F off, stepdad, because he's like, oh, I ordered the Peking duck, and she's like, great, you. Right. Which that was, the thing that's just, come on, like.
Well, yeah, but I hate to break this to you, but that's absolutely true.
Oh, I'm sure that it's true, but like,
yeah,
it's just,
It's like, off, dude. Get a grip.
But I also wish I would have, like, they didn't really say how long it had been. Oh, no, they did at the very end. They said 3.
At the end, yeah.
They said 3 years, which is like, that's a decent amount
of time. But 3
years
from that day or 3 years and then she met her?
No, I think it was 3 years from then when he died.
That she met him? Or 3 years until she was getting married?
No, I think that her dad died, and then 3 years later, because at the end of the movie, she was like, 3 years ago, we had something terrible happen to our family.
So that's what I'm saying. That's a short amount of time that
Is
your
it?
husband dies. So you're going to get married 3 years after I die?
No.
Okay, then you tell me.
I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't think it's real. I've never understood that whole thing of, like, somebody's spouse dies and what, they're just supposed to be miserable for the rest of their life?
Oh, look at whose tune has changed.
No, that's not what I'm saying, David.
Because I was like, oh yeah, you got to move on if I die. And you're like, no, I wouldn't.
That's different. I wouldn't. Other people are different.
Yeah. Oh, God. I wouldn't.
And so, you know, the two of them are fighting, and they're fighting quite loudly in this restaurant. Like,
oh, it was okay back then.
Yeah, and so then they go into the bathroom, and they're still fighting, and then
because nobody would be filming you in 2003.
Yeah, that's true. And you know, the restaurant owners, there's like a Chinese mom and daughter, and her daughter's like, just stay out of it, and then she's like, I'm gonna give them the magic cookie, and
oh, Mama, stay out of it, please. Mama.
So she gives them this fortune cookie in the bathroom, and they take it, and, you know, they open it, and then all of a sudden there's an earthquake that only they can feel.
Right, somehow.
Which wasn't consistent with the end of the movie, but that's a small thing I'm going to overlook.
Well, they were by themselves, at least, by the bathroom.
Yeah.
They were in the middle of the room at the end, but whatever.
And no one can feel the thing, and they're like, oh god, but they're still themselves. Okay.
Right, and they're asking around, like, the restaurant looks totally normal, and like, didn't you feel that, the earthquake? No. So then we cut to overnight, there's a little montage, but the mom wakes up in Anna's body.
Yeah, and she's like, why am I in Anna's room?
Yeah,
and she's
what,
like
did I
feeling her
pass out
body,
in
and
here?
she's like touches her butt. And she's like, that's definitely not mine.
Yeah.
And you know, she realizes that she's her daughter, and so then the son walks in, and he's like, "Mom's dead," because like the mom is all like passed out in the bed, all like how she sleeps,
Flopped out, yeah.
Yeah, and
teenage dead to the world.
I enjoyed this scene quite a bit, where they first, like, the waking up, and then she's like, oh my god, like, I'm old, and she's like, I beg your pardon.
I look like the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah, which everybody knows from the trailer, but there's, you know, they're just like...
From the trailer?
Well, the movie trailer, that was one of the big things in the movie trailer. Oh, I'm like the Crypt Keeper!
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was on all the movie trailers, like, back then.
Do you know what the Crypt Keeper is?
It's from the, is that from the Addams Family?
No, it's from HBO.
Or it's from some show.
Yeah.
I don't know.
A show that you would probably love, but...
But yeah, so they have a whole, like, realizing that they've switched bodies, and they're trying to figure out what to do, and it's silly, and there's a lot of back and forth between the two of them,
And that's basically the next 45 minutes of the movie.
Well, sort of, but, you know, I did laugh out loud at one part where they're talking about, like, her wedding, and she's like, I can't marry Ryan, ew! Because I thought that was funny.
It was funny. Yeah, they can, and mom is like, hey, we can't tell anybody. We got to go about our normal days. I got to go take the test for you. You got to go to work for me and be a therapist. Don't give anybody any advice.
Just say, how does it make you feel?
Yeah.
Or how do you feel about that or whatever. And so then they're going about their day.
And they're having confusing behavior towards everybody, especially the young kid.
Yeah, because, you know, Jamie Lee Curtis, who is actually the teenage daughter, is like, oh, you know, like, off basically.
Yeah, and really giving him a lot of with him.
You know, they're in the car, and there's a lot of back and forth, and...
Jamie Lee Curtis keeps putting her legs up on the dash, which is... I'm sorry. If you're ever riding in my car and you put your legs up on the dash, I'm going to slam on the brakes so that your head hits your knees.
And her fiance is just super confused by what's going on. Like, he's just clearly... Like, everything is weird. And so they go to the school, and, you know, she gets out, and
then we have Jake awkward meeting both of them.
great bike. What? Not like I've ever been on it. I'm not allowed.
And then they leave, and then she blows Jake off. The mom as
which
Lindsay
is like,
Lohan.
what are you doing? Like, come on.
And that's the thing, is that she's a real...
Yeah, she like completely just treats him like crap, and then she tries to talk to the Stacy chick who she used to be friends with.
Yeah, because her mom was like, "Oh, well, I don't understand why you can't still be friends with Stacy. What is this big war about?"
So that's a very realistic thing.
Of course, it's realistic.
No, but I mean, for a parent to say, because they just have no concept. Because I remember,
right? But don't you have that concept from when you were a kid that you fall out of friendships with people? And...
Yes, but here's the thing. Is that I remember certain instances, like when my mom was like, well, why aren't you friends with so-and-so anymore? And I'm just like thinking, God, I haven't been friends with them for like 5 years. Or the most perfect example was when I was like, I don't remember when it was, but I ran into this girl that I went to high school with, that I used to be kind of in their friends group. Mm-hmm. And I don't even exactly know what happened, but basically like I was excommunicated from their friends group or whatever.
Hey, me too.
And there was like 8 of them, and it was very like no explanation, whatever, after high school of why, and now a lot of them are still friends.
Yeah.
And this girl's mom, I ran into her in like Dollar Tree, and she remembered me, and I knew who she was, and I knew that her daughter was getting married, and she's like, oh, like, and she said some comment about like, oh, why aren't you, I don't think you're coming to the wedding. And I'm like, why would I be going to your daughter's wedding? We're not friends. She was like, yeah, I don't know why I haven't seen you around and why you guys aren't friends anymore. And I'm like, I don't know, like they just stopped talking to me. Like,
it's because some of us grow and some
like,
of us don't.
What I really want to say, oh, maybe it's because your daughter and her friends are but I didn't say that. Like it was just, but it's the whole concept of parents really not having any idea.
Yeah.
And it just happens, I think, because you get older, you know, like
I guess.
I don't know.
I still related more to the teenager at 40. Is that bad?
No. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Oh, and then so she.
This is a hard movie to talk about because it's real choppy.
It's fine. We'll just get through it the best we can. Just all of a sudden decides to go on a shopping spree and then cuts her mom's hair, which I'm just like, oh my God, that's hardcore.
I honestly can't tell the difference, really.
Oh, no, there's a big difference. Because, like, before, it was, I don't know if she had a wig on or what, because it was all shaggy. It did not
I think they
good.
just cut her hair. Because she always had short hair.
Yeah, but it was very clearly shaggy. There's a noticeable difference.
Oh, okay.
You know, and she buys these new clothes, and she's super sassy, and she, yeah.
Yeah. Girlfriend. And then we cut back to Anna acting weird with her friends. Being like, why would I miss my mom's writing rehearsal? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, and they're like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, she still is thinking like, oh, like high school, it's so easy, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And she even said that earlier in the movie. She was like, high school is so easy.
They both telegraphed the whole... switching places would be easier.
Yeah, and she, you know, encounters the mean Mr. Bates, and it's very clear that he is, you know, out to get her, because the one guy, they're talking about Hamlet, and he asks, like, the one kid, you know, talk to me about Hamlet. He's like,
and he leads him into the answer.
He's like, oh, you know, he's a dude, and just like, and then he asks her about a more complicated question about central themes or whatever, and she gives this very, like,
elaborate, detailed answer, and he goes, F.
Yeah, and so then she's like, what the f-? So she talks to him after class, and then she realizes that, oh, you're taking this...
This is a fantastic scene.
Yeah, no, this part is really good.
She owns him.
She's like, oh, you asked my mom, which is actually her, out to the prom, and she said no. And she was like, and he's like, and she's just...
Oh, this is an appropriate discussion.
And she's, oh, I bet the school board would love to hear about you taking your high school revenge out on an innocent student. And she had a boyfriend, and you were weird. So, yeah,
she owns him.
That's a great scene. And then we go back to the therapy sessions where she has to go, where old mom has to go through all of the terrible clients, and it's just yeah, that one was pretty funny. And the guy's like, I feel depressed. And she's like, how do you feel about that? He's like, I feel depressed. But no, I like it when, because she's just not paying attention, and all of a sudden the lady's like,
you read her diary?
Yeah, like that, no. And then
No, bad mom award.
Yeah, and if she was having sex with this guy, she wouldn't be writing about it in her diary.
She'd be out there doing it.
Yeah, I enjoyed
Which is very true, by the way. I mean, you're not going to read anything decent.
If you're a parent, don't read your kid's diary or text messages or any of that. Just don't do it.
Don't go looking for things that you don't want to find.
Yeah, because you're probably going to find something that you don't like, and you're going to completely forget that you probably did that was way worse.
Yeah, and just let them go through their
They'll figure it out.
If you find heroin, guess what? You're way too late. Oh, man.
And if they're having sex, just remember.
You're way too late.
You probably had sex too,
Yeah.
so just leave a condom by their bed and call it good.
Or maybe not. Just direct them where to go.
Ba-ba-da-ba-doo.
God, this is confusing to go through. The pop quiz, the psychologist. Oh, so no, this is where she picks her up in the Volvo, and she has her first French fry in 8 years.
Yeah, because she's
Lindsay
like,
Lohan.
I have a high like basically like you're young, you can eat that stuff. And,
Yeah, old people can't eat fast food.
Yeah, and that was pretty funny. And they
they go back to the Chinese restaurant.
Yeah, and basically the lady at the Chinese restaurant's like, well, that's your guys' fault. Like, you have to figure it out.
Well, she yells at her mom, and then her mom kind of tells her what's going on. She's like, well, you guys have to figure out what was on the fortune and do it.
Yeah, and then, we kind of skipped over it, but she had canceled her mother's caterer. She's like,
yeah.
halibut, ew, because it's disgusting. And so then they have to have the Chinese food caterer.
Yeah, I'll give you 10% off.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
But then they have to go to, or she has to go to her son's school.
To do a parent-teacher conference where she finds out her son gets bullied. But then she finds out, oh, whoops, the brother worships her.
Which, this was actually a very sweet moment in the movie.
It was very sweet, but God, it's too sweet.
What do you mean it's too sweet?
Yeah, come on.
No, it's very... I thought it was a very sweet moment, because she was, oh my God, my brother actually likes me, and it was... I enjoyed that moment.
Not just likes her the most.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a very sweet, good moment.
And when she kicks him in the butt when they're leaving with the backwards thing. That's one of my favorite moves of all time. When you're walking with someone and you kick them in the butt backwards. God. That's great.
You never done that to me.
Yeah, but that's different.
So she goes home, she's trying to find the fortune. Oh, I got a surprise for you. And her fiance, and he takes her to
a TV show. You would never do this to somebody, by the way. This is another big flaw. You wouldn't be like, oh, surprise, you're going to be on TV in 5 seconds.
And talk about your book.
Yeah.
That's like a really big deal. And she's like, oh, great. And she has no idea about anything about the book.
She doesn't even know how to pronounce one of the words on the book, the sinensis.
That was one of the funniest parts about it.
Yeah.
And then, because the host says it, and she's, oh, like senile, like old people. Okay, I got this,
and,
yeah. And so then she kind of just completely derails the talk show, but it's really funny and everyone really likes her.
Well, and this is why Jamie Lee Curtis is so good, because she just nails being this person.
Being a teenager in an adult body.
Yeah.
Let's just say this cute guy asks you out. What are you gonna do? Come on, that was pathetic. You know, you keep all that bottled up. No wonder you're getting old. I'm serious. This guy's hot. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, she's like talking about why adults are so tired, and she's like, the cooking, like, you never heard of takeout?
Yeah.
And cleaning, let's just not and say we did. And like typical teenage responses.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks
spending time with your kids, leave them alone. That's what they want.
Yeah, and the host is like, I don't remember any of this in your book. But
and the host is some bubbly blonde lady.
Back at school, basically, we get more of her mom as like the teenage Lindsay Lohan's character Lindsay Lohan's character just being an idiot, because she's like, oh, Stacy, blah, 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 blah. And then so Stacy's like, oh, sit with me during this really important test.
Yeah, test for honors.
And
which, by the way, maybe that's just where I went. If you test for honors, 4 or 5 people.
Yeah, no, it's not this big. Yeah,
there's not like 80 people in there, because guess what? That many people aren't smart.
No. So basically the Stacy chick just writes her a note and she like looks at it and she's like, I'm so glad we're friends again. And she's smiling and she's like, oh, she's copying my test.
Yeah, as soon as she's looking at the note visibly, she's like, oh, she's copying. So she gets kicked out.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't happen. They just move her. And then she's back in detention. Somehow, with the same person who is also the test proctor, whatever, that she trades snacks with.
Yeah.
Which is another reason she wouldn't have got kicked out. That person falls asleep. She sneaks out and she runs into old Jakey Wakey.
Yeah, and he's like, I can help you finish your test.
I work here. I'm actually 27 years old, which is exactly really what he is.
Yeah, and they walk through like the teacher's lounge and she finishes her test. And
I do like that when they're walking through the teacher's lounge because nobody cares. Like, even Mr. Bates is just totally into his own thing.
He's like doing a puzzle or something.
Yeah.
And...
So she finishes her test, quote unquote.
Well, how would she have all the questions? That's
yeah, of course. It's a huge hole. And erases Stacy's test and
writes, I'm stupid
with a little heart.
I thought was hilarious.
It is funny, yeah.
And then Jake is all noble or whatever and doesn't like that, which I'm just like, come on, dude.
Because she asked him for a ride home on his bike, and he's like, I don't know. I don't like what you did to Stacy's test. It's like, do they, in another scene coming up, they have no idea what motivates a teenage man because it's only going to matter how hot she is and how willing she is to give it up. Those are your two qualifications.
Yeah, and that's kind of a common thing in some of these teenage rom-com movies. It's like,
right.
The hot dude secretly is like, oh,
deep.
I'm really deep, and
yeah.
come on, no dude, not even ugly, hot, whatever.
He's as deep as the length of his. That's it.
No high school boy is gonna be like, oh, I don't like what you did to that girl's test. He'd be like, yeah, screw her. She, like, she's the reason that you couldn't finish the test. So, like, yeah, she freaking deserves it. She's a, like, come on.
Will you touch it?
Yeah, it's just.
Touch it? Yeah, see what I'm saying? How hard this is to get around?
Well, and we mishmashed a few things. But so then, then we get a really strange part of the movie where, Jamie Lee Curtis goes, ditches her fiance and then goes to the coffee shop and runs into Jake.
Well, she ditches her after she gets kicked out of the studio for being crazy on the TV show. And she goes and gets caffeine because she mentioned she's been craving caffeine because she's old and she's tired.
Yeah. And
she runs into Jake and they have this big, long conversation about bands. And as a guy who was in the same position, big into bands and all this stuff,
yeah,
I was not gonna bang some old lady because she liked the same kind of music I was.
It was a little weird, and
it was super creepy.
It was really uncomfortable, and then it's funny because they start singing the remake of Baby One More Time loudly, and everyone in the coffee shop is like, that's weird.
Yeah, why does the old lady know this song?
That's not what they were thinking. And she's like, I gotta go, because she realizes, oh, I am my mother. I can't do this.
At this point, she should realize that she doesn't want anything to do with this guy who's about to try and her mom.
I mean, that is one of the weirdest parts of this movie. Oh, come on, you're not really getting married, are you? Oh, God.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, oh, you're not really what?
Yeah, and so he's like, can I give you a ride home? And she's like, okay. And then they're driving on the bike, and of course her fiance sees her on the back of the bike, and
this is like that's just a total wasted scene. Other than when they get back to the house, he's like, hey, if you're not into me, just say it now if you're trying to find something. I really thought I'm a cool guy. I was really into you and your kids, and I'm an honorable guy, and blah, 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 which sets up everything. But she's like, oh, he's such a good guy.
Yeah, and then Lindsay Lohan is like, oh, no, he actually likes me. My mom was just checking him out for me, and blah, 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 blah. Which was a good...
It's a good save. Good
cover,
save.
basically.
Good save.
And, she says, like, yeah, and he's actually, like an honorable, good guy. And then,
I give my permission to date.
Yeah, but it's Lindsay Lohan saying that, so it's a little weird. And then they're, like, getting ready to go to this
rehearsal dinner.
And then Jake shows up outside their house and starts serenading.
Yeah, with the Hit Me Baby One More Time.
Which was kind of funny. And
it is very funny.
Then Lindsay Lohan, like, football tackles him outside, which is great.
And it's like, hey, don't you come around here. Get out of here, you idiot. You're in love with the other girl, not the mom. Get stupid. And then she kisses him. Yeah. Which is all it would have taken.
And he's like,
she should have just, like, rubbed 4.5 seconds. She's old enough to know that would have worked.
Well, and he's even, like, during the movie, he's like, you're beautiful. But blah, blah, blah. And
it's like, that's all what would have mattered to him. It's like, oh, this girl's hot.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know. So they go to the rehearsal dinner, and Lindsay Lohan's friends show up because they're trying to capture her to go to...
They're trying to kidnap her.
Go to the Battle of the Bands.
With duct tape and a rope.
Yeah, and they get caught, and then, then the stepdad is like, oh,
just go.
Like, when he looks...
Do it.
And he looks super irritated, and I'm just like...
Well, I get why he's irritated, because he's irritated that he had to give her permission, because her mom's being such a... There's no reason that she can't go do it.
Yeah, and then he's talking to her, and he's like... Don't put me in this position, Bill. And that was actually a pretty good scene.
No, that's very legit. And she's like, "What?" He's like, "What are you even doing here? Go watch her and support her. What's your problem?"
Yeah, so because they were literally only going to be gone. They were like 2 doors down, apparently.
Yeah, 20 minutes. Like it's gonna take. Like just go ahead.
And
not a biggie. It's your rehearsal dinner.
They go, and of course, Lindsay Lohan can't play guitar because...
Right, she keeps saying, like, not today, guys, I can't do this today.
Yeah, and...
So they start playing, and she can't obviously play. She's like, bang, bang. But somehow Jamie Lee Curtis makes her way backstage and finds a guitar.
And unplugs her.
And unplugs Lohan's
pulls her to
guitar.
the side and explains the whole thing while the song is going on, just in time
and
for
she's
her...
like, go out and look like Keith Richards.
Yeah, and...
Just in time for the solo, and she shreds the solo, of course.
Even though everyone would be able to tell she's not doing it.
And her fake actions, did not look real at all.
No, everyone would be able to tell that she was...
like, boo!
Faking it.
Yeah.
And that she keeps looking off stage.
Right.
But we're just going to ignore that. And then, of course, Jake's out in the audience, and he's all of a sudden, he's like, oh, now I'm you to play with my like you play that guitar.
Oh, man. Now I don't want to bang your mom. I want to bang you.
Yeah, and also, I just don't really buy that... Because part of when you're playing a musical instrument, a big part of it is muscle memory.
Of course.
Jamie Lee Curtis... her fingers would cramp up. She would not be able to do this like incredible guitar solo.
Exactly.
Like that was the biggest about this movie, but I can overlook it
because she would already have like
arthritis,
tendinitis, and then arthritis from typing her notes.
I was just like, that's not believable.
Yeah.
So they go back to the rehearsal dinner and. Then there's a very, like, Lindsay Lohan starts crying, and she's like, just tell him to postpone the wedding, like, he'll understand if he really loves me, like, because she realizes, like, oh, I can't have my 16-year-old daughter go and marry my fiance and then get penetrated by him, like, Jamie Lee Curtis is, does her selfless act, and she's, like, does this whole long speech, which actually was quite good.
It was quite good.
And was
about 3 years ago...
Yeah, about like basically welcoming him into the family, and then all of a sudden there's another earthquake, but everybody feels it this time, and this time they switch back instantaneously.
Right.
Which that was my only other problem with this was I was like, but that wasn't consistent with how it happened.
But they fulfilled the wish, so that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So then we cut to the marriage, and then Jake showing up at the wedding. Just to go kiss Lindsay Lohan, which is lame and stupid.
It's super lame, because why would she, like you made a very good point earlier, why would she want this guy who was trying to get with her mom? As she was her mom. She was there. She saw what
she was
happening.
trying to her old mom when he's like 17 and a half, which is just like, nah, you don't want that guy.
It's just weird. But, and then...
And they have a big kiss after they do a little rewind. And then we get, at the very end, a little bickering between the old man and the young boy.
Yeah,
and we get like the almost Freaky Friday 2, but Pepe tackles her mom, and then that's the end.
Well, except for then we get Lindsay Lohan shredding on the singing.
I was not going to talk about that because that's awful.
Well, and this is also where she tried to have a music career for like a half second.
Yeah, that was probably her biggest mistake.
Yeah, because that was right around this time.
Yeah, it was around the time that if you were on TV, you tried to have a music career.
Yeah,
was this?
Paris Hilton did it around this time.
Yeah.
Hilary Duff did it, but she actually kind of made it.
She kind of did it.
Mandy Moore did it. She fully transitioned into doing it.
Yeah.
So
Lindsay Lohan failed.
Yeah, she did.
So
did
Hannah
Paris
Montana
Hilton.
was like years after this, right?
Yeah, and Hannah Montana, that was like, I mean, that was completely different because
I just have to check because
that was the whole premise of the show. Was she sang all those songs on the show?
No, but to me, all this stuff is like all the same time.
Yeah, no, Hannah Montana was definitely not several years. It was because
like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, well, not even that much because Miley Cyrus is not that much younger than Lindsay Lohan.
Really?
I don't. Now I gotta look.
No, I think she is.
No, I gotta look now. I don't think it was that much longer.
Because Lindsay Lohan is in my range and Hannah Montana is not.
So Hannah Montana was on TV 2006 to 2011. And this movie came out in 2003. Mm-hmm. So it really was about 5 years.
But I want to know how far they are apart.
So Lindsay Lohan is 34 right now.
Definitely in my range. Exactly
as of the
like
date this is supposed to, well, sort of.
You're 31.
One.
Yeah, so in my range.
And Miley Cyrus is 28.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not that much different. It's like 5 years.
It's a big 5 years.
Yeah, I know, but it's not that much different.
That's all she wrote.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite part, Kelly?
I had two. The initial morning switch scene where they wake up and they realize... Really? I do like that part quite a bit. I think there's a lot of funny lines in it. There's a lot of funny bits. I just like Jamie Curtis's characterization of being a teenage girl in an adult body. It was pretty accurate, I think.
I like the whole Jake falls in love thing. It's hilarious. It's so creepy and gross.
So creepy.
And funny.
And my second one is the end speech at the rehearsal dinner. I thought,
Kelly.
Well, it was very sweet and it was very, got me a little bit emotional, so.
So I'll go with the TV scene along with the douche teacher own. That was pretty great.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And the TV scene is also good.
Yeah, TV scene is pretty funny.
I mean, everything with Jamie Lee Curtis being a teenager in an adult body is great.
Yeah, exactly.
Because she's great, so...
Well, I also really enjoyed all the scenes where, like, the teacher was being unfair to Anna, the Stacey Hodgkinson or whatever it was unfair.
Yeah, because any high school, popular kids being dicks to non-popular kids or whatever is great because everybody can relate to it.
Right.
Unless you are that popular dick kid and then you can't really relate to it.
I don't, what's the problem? The music and songs, we already talked about all the punk pop and
and especially since they were mentioning all these bands that supposedly have good music, why not?
They really switched their eras because in one of them they talked about the Breeders and then two other bands I didn't know from around that time and I was confused.
Yeah, and it's just I don't know, I feel like they kind of missed that opportunity to make it the soundtrack a little better. I think that probably could have enhanced the movie quite a bit, but I think they were also trying to appeal to a younger audience, and I don't think most teenagers at that time would have known who the Breeders were.
Yeah, absolutely not. So, that's what I'm saying.
I think they were trying to just appeal to the audience.
I think the writers were just old.
Yeah.
So in our main characters, Mom and Lindsay Lohan, very believable.
Tess and Anna.
Oh, is that, Tess and Anna. Yeah. That's right. Dr. Free something.
Dr. Coleman.
Oh, Coleman. Yeah, there we go.
Tess Coleman.
Yeah, Tess Coleman.
Yeah. I mean, they were definitely both very believable. They did a great job with their characters.
Yeah.
This story, I mean, could very easily go, not good. It could go into, new darn cat territory.
Oh, totally.
Imagine the new darn cat, Christina Ricci and the mom from that. They could have had a Freaky Friday set up with that because they were this kind of the same. Not really the same dynamic because the mom in that was more of like a goody-goody church person.
Yeah, but Jamie Lee Curtis was not that far off of being the psychoanalyst.
No, and so it's just, I think that in Darn Cat, this type of character is more of what they were trying to go for, but then they turned it into that. So I thought they both did a really excellent job with the material they were
really
given,
did.
and
so for villains, they were both the villains as well. They were the villains and the main character, both of them at the same time.
Yeah, they were. That's what I had too. I mean, you had like the mini villains, like Mr. Bates, the teacher, and Stacy, but that's more of like a side villain.
Those are obstacles, not villains.
Oh, I like
and it was a little weird that they didn't have a villain for the mom character like they did the teenage character, and maybe that's why I sympathize more.
Well, and she was more of a villain to herself.
Yeah, but they were both villains to themselves. They should have had like a boss or somebody who was a problem for her. It would have made it more effective a little bit.
But like, what would the problem be?
A boss.
I mean, she's her own boss. She's a therapist.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Whoa. Just because you're a therapist doesn't mean you don't have a boss.
Well, no, but I mean, I think when you're that well established, she probably has her own practice.
How about a publisher or something that could be a dick?
Because maybe it could have been a publisher.
I feel like a publisher could have completed this story to make it really good.
Yeah, and maybe, upset about the TV appearance and like upset about...
I mean, can't you see like a douchey Catherine Hahn type being the publisher? Yeah. It would be perfect. But... yeah, we missed that part. Yeah, there's none of that in there.
Yeah, no, I could see that.
Yeah. So our side characters, we got Ryan, the charming stepdad to be, Mr. Serial Killer,
Ryan Theodore Bundy,
Harry, the little douche younger kid.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm kind of glad they didn't really focus on him too much.
But his parts were really good. Anything he did was great. He was a very effective younger kid.
I gotta ask, cause what, 8 or something?
Oh,
an 8-year-old boy.
To me, I thought he was younger, but yeah, you're probably right.
So like, as an 8-year-old boy, if you had an older sister, and they show this a lot in movies of like little boys going and putting on their sister's bras. Is that a thing?
A little bit, along with like socking them in the tit.
You
do a lot of punching and a lot of with them. Yeah, I mean,
but putting on their bras and being like, ooh.
Yeah, but to with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So stupid to think about him, but I can't help it.
And then you have, you have Grandpa, which is not a huge part, but he's there.
No, but yeah, the Grandpa part I really could have done without.
Yeah, it was kind of...
It was basically to set up the very last scene of the movie, which makes no sense.
Yeah. And
then we have Jake, the hot guy.
Ugh, God. Easily the worst part of this movie. Like, just pick a better looking guy. Like, he's just, cardboard and
Which
sand.
I'm fine with him being cardboard. That's fine to me.
No, I don't like
so
it.
So cinematography, whatever, it was fine.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these live action movies...
There were some interesting gimbal shots at the beginning when they were finding out that they were the other person and they were having the strapped on camera.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
No, I liked that. I thought it was effective. It was like showing the panic on their faces and...
Yeah.
I liked it. I liked that. That was a good choice by the first-time director.
Yeah, and, I mean, it was fairly high quality for the year.
It was a huge release, because if I can remember commercials for this, the fact that I know that this came out in 2003, when I don't even think I had a TV in 2003, that's pretty good.
No, it was definitely, I do remember it coming out, and I didn't see it in theaters. I just saw it later when it was on TV.
Right.
And I don't even know that I actually sat through the whole movie, and now that I'm thinking about it, I think I just saw various clips because when movies would come out on Disney Channel, like way after they were in theaters, they would play them like for a week. They would be on like every day or something. They would have a couple times a month they would have it on when they were trying to promote like the DVD sales or whatever.
So what is your biggest surprise or disappointment from this movie, Kelly?
I mean, I'm definitely just disappointed. I'm just disappointed in Lindsay Lohan in general. I mean, she had such promise as a young actress, and it's just disappointing.
That's fair.
And then I'm surprised just because I thought I kind of knew what I was getting going into this movie, but I am surprised because like the two scenes where I kind of did have like some emotional feelings. Like
there were some emotional feelings in this movie.
Like when the little kid's paper, I was like, oh, when I actually had some feelings. But no,
And the end scene is very emotional.
The end scene, I did get a little...
It was like dust-ish.
I got a little dusty, because
It is very effective, I will not lie. To me, I was just surprised at how shockingly funny it was.
It was funny.
I could not believe that this movie was funny.
It was funny. I mean, it was good.
So, any quotable lines?
I mean, just the one, because it just made me laugh out loud. I can't marry Ryan. Ew. Just the way that Jamie Lee Curtis delivered the line was just
It was very good.
Perfect. It was so perfect.
I can't marry Ryan! Ew!
And when she was in the car, and the car scene, which is also a good scene, by the way, when they're in the car.
Oh, yeah, that's a great
like
scene.
when she turns around and sticks her tongue out at her son, like, it's perfect. But where she's going through her wallet, and she's like...
looking at the money in the credit cards.
And she's like, oh, platinum, cool. And like, it just, I don't know, it just was all of her tics and mannerisms and facial expressions.
They're very good.
And the way that she delivered the lines were so on point for a teenage girl.
Right.
It was just... Yeah, that was good.
You're ruining my life.
Oh God,
that's gonna be mine.
Yeah, it's so if you remade this movie for a fourth time, because apparently they did a musical version of this on Disney Channel.
No need.
Yeah, I don't think you really need to remake it, but I would improve the soundtrack. Would be my number one.
I think that's just a generational thing.
Yeah.
Even though I would improve the soundtrack from this generation. But it just, I don't really have anything to pick with this movie.
I would have probably not had them swap bodies like in the thing, because I'm kind of disappointed it wasn't consistent with the beginning.
It would have been better if they would have both went to the bathroom and cried in each other's arms, like, I'm so sorry, and then the private earthquake. That would have made a little bit more sense.
Yeah, or if they just like went to bed and woke up and they like how it happened initially, and then they woke up and they were themselves again.
She would have had to delay the wedding to do that, and they didn't want to do that.
But she wasn't going to delay the wedding. That was the whole selfless act thing.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, I don't think it had to mirror the beginning for it to work, because all they had to do was do the selfless act. But it would have been nice to have the selfless act happen in private.
Like it did at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was my only other thing I would have changed.
Kelly's little nit to pick.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
No, it was a fun movie. Typical Disney.
Right,
It's a very easy watch.
That's what I'm saying. It's a fun little film. It's a good watch. You'll have a good time watching it. No reservations.
Yeah, that was good. They had a $20 million budget, and they made $160 million.
Yeah, so it's no surprise that after this, they did Herbie Fully Loaded.
Yeah.
And then I feel like there was never a chance for her to be in a Disney movie again.
Probably not. No, they're too embarrassed by her.
Yeah. So, Kelly, if you had to give this movie a rating, what would it be?
So, I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. I mean, I wasn't like, oh my god, this is like so good. But I did enjoy it more than I thought, because going into it, I honestly thought my rating was going to be more like in the 50-something% range.
Yeah, I'm with you. But I was thinking
I just
more
thought,
like 30s.
whatever. But I gave it a 72%, because it's an average movie,
Dang.
but for me, that's a good. I enjoyed it. I really liked it. What?
So I gave it a 75%.
Off, David.
I in the exact same vein, I really didn't think that this was going to be good. I actually thought it was going to be really bad, and I was very pleasantly surprised that it was a very well executed, fun movie to watch. It was funny. It kept my attention. There was no time where I was like, "Oh God!"
Like, I would watch this again.
I didn't go, "Ugh."
Would you watch it again?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No.
Because I actually kind of have a feeling if you watch it again, you would catch some other things that would tickle your funny bone, and you would start quoting more parts of this movie.
Yeah, no, it was definitely...
So, in my opinion, this is a kind of a highly quotable, funny little movie.
Yeah.
Because I think you would catch more nuances in Lindsay Lohan's performance if you watch this again.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because she also did do a good job of, like, portraying the... Like, when she was at school with her friends, and she was like, I don't want contact with members of the opposite sex ever. No. And you girls would do well to follow my advice. Just, like, her tone and just... Yeah, she did a good job.
Yeah. So what do you think the Rotten Tomatoes score for this
So
is?
I'm going to guess that this probably didn't get as good of reviews by the critics as we gave it. Because this was like beginning of hate on Lindsay time, I think. So I'm going to guess this got like a 60%.
You could not be more wrong.
Really?
So the Rotten Tomatoes critic score is 88%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So this rocked. But for some unbeknownst reason, I'm going to guess it's the reason that you just gave. With the people, it's 52%. It makes no sense whatsoever.
You know what that's kind of like? It's like when we watched Princess Diaries, which came out very close to this.
Right.
And we both really liked it, and I still love that movie. And
right, absolutely.
The
Me
people
too.
hated it, and it's a great movie.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all.
So
yeah, that's what it is. I don't really get it. So now it's time for Kelly's favorite part of the podcast.
I'm sweating, and I was already sweating because it's warm out here. So now I'm literally can feel myself sweating. Not like I'm just mentally sweating.
You're mentally sweating.
Yeah.
I want to know what that's like.
It's like your brain is wet on the inside.
So we got number 206, which is...
Well, wait, 206. So that's kind of old. That's in the 80s.
Yeah, no, it's in the mid-90s.
Oh,
but
darn.
It's also a movie that we already watched. It's Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, okay. We can watch it again. No, just kidding.
No, thank you.
Oh, I bet you like that movie.
Oh, but you like it. Oh,
David. David's just tryring to keep me on the edge of my toes. He's trying to make me sweat. Lily's like, come on, Daddy. Finish the podcast.
Finish the PCast. All right, so number 105.
Oh, God, that's really old then.
It's not really old,
What,
but it's
70s?
older. Yes.
So that face that David just made says this is live action because he just made a face like, what the f*** is this?
I think we determined that everything in this period of time is live action.
So it's a 70s. What the f***? Okay.
Yeah. It's from 1972. Napoleon and Samantha.
Okay.
And it's 5 movies after Scandalous John.
Oh, God.
And then the next movie that we saw after this is Adventures of the Winnie the Pooh, which is 130. So a long time after that.
So Napoleon and Samantha. So we have to guess what this is about. What do you think it's about, David?
I'm gonna say it's about Napoleon from France fighting the war, and he meets his lover Samantha, and they have like a romance during the war. Or like on Napoleon's desert island, he gets with Samantha.
No, I don't think that's correct at all, actually.
Or it's another one of those weird Southern California movies like Boatniks.
I think this movie...
That's my real guess, is that it's a weird Southern California Boatnik style movie.
I think this movie is going to be more like a Nikki type movie. Nikki Wild Dog of the North. But not like documentary style, but it's going to be like... Maybe Samantha is like a lost little girl in the forest, and she meets like a dog or like a bear, and she's like, Napoleon. And they're
What if it's like Napoleon Dynamite?
No. And that would be great, but no. And she like becomes friends. It's some human and some animal companion, and they're gonna go on some adventure, or maybe it's like...
Well, in that case, then Samantha is the animal and Napoleon is the guy.
Okay, so maybe it is in like Napoleon France days, but it's like Napoleon and his pet bird,
Maybe
Samantha.
it's Canada though, like
French Canada. That's what I'm saying, like wilderness. And then Napoleon is like, Samantha, and then there's this bear that runs in and he's like, I'm Samantha.
I could totally see that.
It's got to be a human and an animal companion. That's what I'm gonna guess.
You're probably right, and we'll probably have to watch this like on YouTube or Vudu or some weird.
Not heard of this ever.
Yeah.
So
yeah. In the meantime, if you'd like to follow us on social media, Instagram or Facebook at the Disney Movies, if you'd like to send us an email about any little thing at thedisneymovies@gmail.com.
Like, subscribe, share, leave us a good old 5-star review on the Apple Podcasts.
We like those.
Or whatever you listen to, so we appreciate that. That helps a lot.
And mostly, we want you to subscribe and listen to the show, because that's the whole point of us doing this, is that you listen. We don't really need you to praise affection on us.
No, but we enjoy reading your emails. They're quite entertaining. Even when they're terrible, those are even more entertaining. We love
terrible. Nobody's terrible.
No. I mean, like, when they're like, I can't believe you didn't like Swiss Family Robinson.
Oh, right. If you're angry, definitely send us an
all the
email if you're
Karens out
angry.
there.
Yeah.
We're here for
because
that.
I really do appreciate that very much. I revel in it a little bit, but that's not surprising to anybody who listens to this show. But for now, this has been At the Disney Movies with the Hearts.
I'm Kelly.
I'm David.
Bye. Jesus, Lily.
She knows when it's time to go.
She didn't even wait for the bye. You were like, I was like, I'm Kelly. You're like, I'm David. And she's like, brrr.
Yeah, I'm gone. Lily's like, I'm gone.
Yeah, she's done. She's over it.
Looks like, Daddy, can we sleep out here? It's warm.
So quiet.
Dildo. Hey, dildo. It's another movie we need to watch.
What?
Outside Providence.
What? What is it called?
Outside Providence.
I've never heard of that.
It's a stupid movie.
I mean, don't we kind of already watch a bunch of stupid movies?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yikes. Boo.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I'm loving it.
My loneliness is killing me.
And I
Must confess, I still believe